What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to talk about Social Security. I'm going to show you a clip of Senator Rick Scott. He's going to be talking about Social Security and kind of talking about President Biden was attacking the Republicans. And I want to play this mainly because, first off, I'll play the whole clip and then we'll break it down. And I just want you to see the response of the interviewer. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the different things that he's talking about when it comes to Social Security. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about money and retirement. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this clip. Now, I'll play the entire clip first, and then we're going to play little clips, and I'll break it up, and we're going to talk a little bit about this because this is very important. We're talking about Social Security here. We already know that Senator Scott, his feelings about Social Security, but he's going to try to switch it up and make it look like the Democrats are the ones that are really trying to cut Social Security. So we're going to talk about that. But the very end of this clip, I want you to watch the response of the interviewer. Okay, this is on Fox Business. So this is Maria, and just watch her response because it tells you everything that you need to know about Senator Scott and what Senator Scott's saying. So here we go.
It's been horrible.
Well, let's talk about what's going on with President Biden using Labor Day speeches in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania to attack Republicans again, talking about partisan, Senator. He's even taking a shot personally at you in the Senate. Let's take a listen.
The biggest contrast from what MAGA Republicans, the extreme right, the Trumpies, they want to go to Congress. These MAGA Republicans in Congress are coming for your Social Security as well.
So your first paycheck, you've been paying for Social Security. Well, guess what? The guy heading up the Republican campaign committee for the United States Senate, Senator Scott from the South, and the guys whose home state I just lived in, Wisconsin, these guys don't even think Social Security should be guaranteed. They want it on the ballot box, on the ballot every 5 years.
Senator, your response.
Well, first off, it's the first time he actually has an idea where my state is. He still can't get my state right. But here's the deal. Joe Biden, when he was in the Senate, proposed many times cutting Social Security and Medicare. Actually, every Democrat in the Senate and in the House just voted to cut $280 billion out of Medicare, which is going to make it more difficult for you to get life-saving drugs. This is exactly what the Democrats do. Now, do they want to lie about it like they just did? Yeah, of course, he's going to lie about it. What I believe is we got to do everything we can to preserve Medicare, preserve Social Security, make sure these are lasting programs. That's why I believe Congress every year ought to tell the American public what they're going to do to make sure these programs survive. But the Democrats, they don't want to have any conversation. By the way, we don't vote on Medicare or Social Security up here. I've been up here almost 4 years. We don't take a vote, except when the Democrats just did to cut it.
Yeah.
Okay, that response there. You saw Maria. She was just like, there's a pause, and I'm sure there's a little bit of a delay when it comes to the satellite feed. But you saw that pause, and then her response was, yeah. Let's play it again because it's comical to me because she's listening to what he's saying and she knows that he's not being honest and she just doesn't have anything else to say at that point. It's just like, okay, let me just let him say what he's going to say and then I'll ask the next question. So let's play it one more time.
Democrats just did to cut it.
Yeah. Well.
Okay, so I want to break this down because there are a few things that he talked about. First, he talked about President Biden. When President Biden was a senator, he wanted to cut Social Security. I'm not sure exactly what he was talking about when he said that, but I do want to talk about what is happening right now when it comes to the Medicare because he talked a little bit about that. We'll play that portion. Let's see if I can get to that portion. But he talked a little bit about that as far as they want to cut 280 million or 280. Let's play the clip.
Well, first off, it's the first time he actually has an idea where my state is. He still can't get my state right. But here's the deal. Joe Biden, when he was in the Senate, proposed many times cutting Social Security and Medicare. Actually, every Democrat in the Senate and in the House just voted to cut $280 billion out of Medicare, which is going to make it more difficult for you to get life-saving drugs.
Okay, so that part right there, I want to talk about that a little bit because this is very, very important for us to be focused on what these politicians are saying. Okay, now this is a senator, and he is talking and he is saying that Democrats want to cut Medicare. And they just voted on this bill, on this last bill that we just saw go through. They voted to cut Medicare. And it's sad that you have politicians that are actually talking like this, and people are listening to them and thinking, okay, well, yeah, this must be true because a politician is saying it. But the reality is they didn't vote to cut Medicare. They voted to save money when it comes to being able to negotiate prescription medication. And so basically what we're looking at is saving $280 billion, and that $280 billion can now go towards other things. Okay, it can help Medicare in other ways because now you have excess money. That's what we're talking about here. But what Senator Scott is saying is he's saying, you know what? No, we want to spend that money. We want to spend the Americans' tax dollars, continue to spend it, give it to these pharmaceutical companies, and allow them to do more research, because that's what he's talking about too. He's saying that if we don't spend this money, if we don't spend this extra $280 billion, then that means that these pharmaceutical companies, they're not going to want to do the research in order to have these life-saving drugs. Well, we live in a capitalist society. So if one pharmaceutical company is not going to step up to the plate and try to save American lives, if you want to look at it that way, when it comes to the medications in that pharmaceutical space. And so you'll have other pharmaceutical companies that will step up and say, hey, if they're not going to move forward with trying to do research on these life-saving drugs, then we will do it. And so that's what we want. We should want Congress in there trying to save money, because if you save money, that means more money can go towards other things. And so it's just, I mean, he's just completely lying to you, lying to the American people, saying, look, this is what they're doing. This is what the Democrats are trying to do. And like I said, I don't care about different parties, Democrats, Republicans. I don't care about the parties. What I'm trying to tell you is you have someone that's standing in front of you and telling you a flat out lie. And this is not the first time that he's told this lie. He told this lie. I just watched him on Face the Nation. This was a few weeks ago. He said the same exact thing and then got called on it. And guess what? He didn't have a response.
So, Margaret, here's the way I look at it. Right now, this bill actually ought to be called the War on Seniors Act. I mean, this is a war on Medicare. You look at this. This is a $280 billion cut in Medicare. So what's going to happen is Medicare is going to get cut, and there's going to be seniors that don't get life-saving drugs because the pharmaceutical industries will not be able to have to. Reducing Medicare costs is not the same as reducing benefits, though. You know that.
And he's still saying this same thing, this $280 billion. So it's just really sad when it comes down to it. When I see politicians just flat out trying to deceive the American people, it's disgraceful. It really is. Let's go ahead and continue and play a little bit more of this and see what else he says.
Exactly what the Democrats do. Now, do they want to lie about it like they just did? Yeah, of course, he's going to lie about it. What I believe is we got to do everything we can to preserve Medicare, preserve Social Security, make sure these are lasting programs.
Okay, so he's saying that they want to preserve it. They want to make sure it's lasting programs. These programs are lasting. I would agree 100%. That should be the goal. But right after he says that, listen to what else he says.
That's why I believe Congress every year ought to tell the American public what they're going to do to make sure these programs survive.
Okay, so right after he says that these should be lasting programs, instead of the 5 years, because he had a plan, he had his 12-point plan, right? Instead of the 5 years that we were talking about before, where they would look into the programs every 5 years, and basically the programs would be sunset every 5 years. Now what did he say? He said, no, now let's do it every year. Every year, Congress should be looking into this, and we should be figuring out if the program should still exist. So now he's shortened it. It was 5 years before, but now he wants to do 1 year. This sounds the same as Senator Ron Johnson was saying the same thing. Every year they need to look into Social Security and Medicare. And when it comes down to it, the reason that they want to look into it every year is because they want to make cuts. They want to have it on, they want to be able to negotiate what's going on with Social Security. It's not to preserve Social Security, it's to cut Social Security. That's why they want to look into it every year. And so that's what we're looking at right now. This is Senator Scott. Now, I just played this short clip. There's some more that he said, but I'm going to do it in a separate video because I want to take the time to kind of break down the things that these politicians are talking about, because a lot of this gets lost. And basically what happens in an interview like this, she's going to ask him a series of different questions. He's going to answer all these different questions. She's not going to push back on him. And most interviewers don't, because they don't have the time. They don't have the time to push back. And so because they don't have that time, they just go to the next question. And then they let the American people have to try to figure out, okay, is he telling the truth or is he lying? Did President Biden really want to cut Social Security and Medicare? Did this last bill that go through, is it really cutting $280 billion? Interviewers don't go over that because they don't have the time to go over it. And so it's just left out there. The politician gets to say their piece, and then it just goes like that, and no one knows what the truth is unless they look into it, right? And so that's what I'm here for. I'm going to try to let you guys see these politicians lie to the American people, and then I'm going to call them on it. And I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just a flat out lie. And I called him on it when Face the Nation, I did a video, and I called him on that same thing. $280 billion, that's not what it is. It's not about that. It's about saving $280 billion. You don't want to save $280 billion. You want to just continue sending that money to the pharmaceutical companies when you can negotiate lower prices like every other country in the world does. And that's why I'm sitting in Colombia right now. If I go down to the pharmacy and purchase the same medication that I can purchase in the U.S., I can get it for 10 times less. Because there are not all these different middlemen that are in there taking money out of the whole process and making me have to pay more. And so it's sad to see that Senator Scott is still saying these same things, even though, like I said, the other interview on Face the Nation, she at least called him on it, but he didn't have a response in the end, and he just they went to the next question because there wasn't time. But this interviewer, Maria didn't even call him on it when it came down to it, and all she gave him was kind of like a pause and okay, let me go to the next question because I don't even want to get into this. And so that's all I have for this video. But I want to know what you guys think about this. So sound off in the comments. And like I said, when it comes to the Senate, it can go either way. I mean, the Democrats are controlling right now, but we could be in a situation where Republicans take control. And if Republicans do take control, what are they going to do when it comes to these programs like Social Security and Medicare? Are they going to try to do away with it, privatize it? Are they going to try to make Social Security discretionary spending where they can look into it every year to see if it still should be around? I want you guys to let me know what you think in the comments. Also, hit the like button, subscribe for more, hit that little bell notification as well. That way you'll get notified, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.